Welcome, traveler. You have walked far. The road behind you is not gone. Only those who do not walk will forget it. But for you, its echo remains, whispering in the rustle of leaves, the murmur of streams, the song of birds, and the warm wind caressing your skin. When you turn to look, you'll find the trees stand still as stone, and the river flows as calm as glass. Though when you turned away, the road was lost, swallowed by the embrace of earth and sky. It's gone, yet not gone. For you, the memory of it lingers like the scent of rain on parched ground, a promise that even when paths fade, memories remain. The past isn't gone. It's part of you now, just as you are part of it. And ahead of you, traveler, a house waits. No one will come to that house, not because it stands abandoned or forgotten, but because it yearns for no visitors. It's a place untouched by the wandering feet of men, by laughter or tears, hopes or fears. In its solitude, it stands serene, basking in the sun's warm gaze, its windows like vacant eyes staring into the infinite expanse of day. It beckons not with open arms, but with open doors. Come, step inside and discover what lies beyond the threshold. You found it at dusk when the sun bled gold across the horizon, painting the clouds with hues of flame. The day had dwindled like a whispered prayer, and shadows stretched long fingers towards the fading light. This place nestled in the heart of nature's vast domain, where ancient bamboo whispered secrets to the wind and broken stones lay scattered like fallen stars. It seemed a world apart, tucked away from the clamor of human strife, where time itself slowed to a languid pace, mirroring the rhythm of the nearby stream. When you first saw the house, its gate stood open, and silent invitation to step through the threshold and into the unknown. It was as if the very air around it hummed with anticipation, drawing you closer to unravel its mysteries. As you approached, a strange stillness enveloped you, a hush so profound it felt like the world was holding its breath. There was no sound of birds or insects, no rustling leaves or babbling brooks, just an eerie quiet that pressed against your ears. It was a silence that spoke volumes, hinting at the secrets that lay within the house's embrace. But the most curious thing about this place was the absence of shadows. It was as if the sun's rays refused to touch this spot, creating an oasis of darkness amidst the golden hues of twilight. Your own shadow, usually a faithful companion, seemed to shrink back from the house's edge, as if afraid to venture forth. It was as though the house itself had devoured the shadows, casting them away like unwanted guests. As you stood there, contemplating, a sudden gust of wind brushed against you, carrying with it the faint scent of jasmine and something else. Something indescribable, yet strangely familiar. It was as if the house itself were reaching out, trying to stir memories that had long been dormant, pulling at your heartstrings with an emotion you couldn't quite place. Hesitantly, you reached out, your fingers brushing against the cool, smooth surface of the gate. It was as if a jolt of electricity surged through you, awakening something deep within your soul. With a deep breath, you pushed the gate open, stepping into the unknown. You entered, not with your feet, but with your stillness. The gate swung shut behind you, its finality echoing the quiet click of a closed door on a forgotten memory. Outside, the sounds of the world pressed against the gate, the murmur of crickets, the distant call of an owl, the gentle rustling of leaves in the evening breeze. But here, within this enclosed space, there was nothing but an unsettling calm. Time, like a breath, held itself, suspended in the hushed stillness of the moment. The hands on the old clock froze, its ticking silenced. The nearby fountain's gentle gurgle ceased. Even the clouds seemed to pause in their journey across the sky, as if the entire universe was holding its breath. In this timeless bubble, you stood still, your movements frozen in an eternal now. Your heart, which moments ago pounded in your chest like a trapped bird, slowed its frantic beat. Your racing thoughts, usually a tempest in your mind's vast ocean, stilled to a tranquil sea. And in that stillness, you found a peace that bordered on the sacred. It was as if you'd stumbled upon a hidden sanctuary, a place where the chaos of the world had no hold, where the cacophony of life faded to a distant hum. Here, in the depths of this silent enclosure, you were truly alone, cut off from the prying eyes and judging whispers of the world outside. Your solitude wasn't lonely, it was complete, total, and in that completeness, you discovered a freedom that was exhilarating and terrifying in equal measure. Freed from the constraints of time, freed from the expectations of society, you were left with nothing but your raw, unfiltered self. It was both liberating and terrifying, and as the seconds ticked by, each one an eternity, you grappled with this newfound freedom, unsure of what to do, where to go, how to move. The weight of your existence, usually shared with countless others, now rested solely on your shoulders. You were utterly alone, adrift in a sea of immensity. But as the minutes stretched into hours, something remarkable happened. The fear that had gripped you began to recede, replaced by a sense of wonder and awe. The vastness that had initially intimidated you now embraced you, enveloping you in its warm, comforting glow. You were a tiny speck in the grand tapestry of existence, and yet you were seen, truly seen, in all your magnificent, intricate detail. The stars twinkled above you, not in different specks of light, but kindred spirits sharing their ancient wisdom. The mountains stood stoic and proud, their rough, weathered faces etched with stories of millennia. They seemed to nod sagely, acknowledging your presence, welcoming you to this sacred space. And as you gazed up at the heavens, a profound realization washed over you. You weren't just a small speck in the vast expanse of the universe. You were an integral part of it, intricately connected to every star, every mountain, every blade of grass. You were part of the grand cosmic dance, the eternal cycle of existence. Here in the house of still time, you learned that true solitude wasn't about isolation, but about connection. Connection to yourself, to the natural world, and to the infinite expanse of the cosmos. You realized that in the depths of your solitude, you were never truly alone. So your first step made no sound. The wooden floor beneath you was dry, but it did not groan, as if it had already heard every footstep you would ever take. Dust covered nothing, for nothing had moved. The house was not empty. It was waiting. And so you walked as one who does not enter but returns, pushing open the door to the kitchen, stepping over the threshold and into a space that feels both unfamiliar and oddly comforting. You are home. It has been years since you have been here, decades even. Yet as you turn the key in the door, it is like coming home after being gone only a few hours. How can this be? A house cannot know nor care for the passage of time. So how is it that you feel such familiarity with a place you have never known? Or perhaps you have. Perhaps you are only now remembering. It is a large room with the windows at the back overlooking the garden. Sun streams through the glass panes, illuminating moats, dancing in the golden light. The air is heavy with the scent of honeysuckle, jasmine, and fresh-cut grass. On the windowsill sits a vase overflowing with blooms, lilies, irises, peonies, roses. All of them white, all of them lilies, all of them white. Their fragrance fills the room, yet there is something else in the air too, something darker, musky, almost animal-like. You recognize that scent, though you cannot name it, which is familiar and comforting, also intriguing and slightly unsettling. A chill runs down your spine despite the warmth of the sun. In the corner stands a massive oak table, its surface polished smooth from years of use. A single candlestick rests upon it, its wax canvas shade casting flickering shadows on the walls. Next to it, an open cookbook, its pages filled with handwritten recipes and stained with what looks like dried blood. Your stomach growls. You are hungry, very hungry, before you can stop yourself. You reach out and touch the cool metal of the candlestick. It is heavy. In your other hand, you clutch a bouquet of white lilies, their petals soft as silk against your cheek. You inhale their cloying perfume, feeling a sense of calm wash over you. Suddenly, the front door opens. Okay? You start and drop the lilies, their white petals staining the pristine carpet below. You whirl around, your eyes searching for the intruder. But no one is there. As you slowly regain your composure, you notice a figure standing in the doorway, tall, slender, androgynous, their features obscured by the shadows of the hood they wear. They do not move, do not speak, only watch you with what seems like an endless amount of patience. Are you afraid? Of course you are. But there is something about this being, this entity, that emanates an aura of power and knowledge that compels you forward. You must know who they are, what they want, why they have come. As you approach, they take a step back, revealing themselves more fully. Their skin is pale as snow, their eyes pools of bottomless black. Their lips, a slash of red against the alabaster canvas, curl into a knowing smile. I've been expecting you, they say, their voice like velvet over steel. I know what you're thinking. Oh my, why have you come? What do you want? It's their eyes boring into yours. But the answers, they whisper, leaning closer, their breath warm on your neck, are not for you to know, at least not yet. They pull away, their smile widening, revealing teeth that are just a little too sharp, just a little too long. It's patience, my dear, they murmur. All will be revealed in time. Then, with a flourish, they sweep aside the heavy velvet curtains, allowing more light to flood into the room. For now, they say, gesturing around them, I suggest you make yourself comfortable. We have much to discuss. Their gaze lingers on you, assessing, appraising, and you know you cannot escape their influence. Not now, not ever. You are trapped in a nightmare from which there is no waking. The house settles around you, a labyrinth of echoing halls and darkened rooms. Each step you take, each breath you draw, is watched, waited for, anticipated. The air grows thick with anticipation. You are being stalked, hunted, and you are the prey. Your heart pounds in your chest, a frantic drum against your ribs as you flee through the maze of twisting corridors. Behind you, the sound of heavy footsteps, measured, inexorable, gaining. The house groans, shifts, its timbers protesting as you burst through a door and find yourself in a nursery. A rocking horse sways gently, its motion hypnotic, its rhythm matching the thudding of your own blood in your ears. Dolls with vacant eyes stare sightlessly ahead, their porcelain faces frozen in grotesque grins. High chair waits patiently by the far wall, its cushions stained and torn. The scent of stale milk and decay clings to the air like a shroud. You cannot stay here. You must keep moving. But where to go? The answer comes in a whisper, a voice like rustling leaves urging you toward the window. With a desperate surge of adrenaline, you throw it open and climb through, dropping to the soft grass below. The chase is over for now. You are safe. As you catch your breath, you look back at the house. Its windows stare down at you, dark and soulless. The front door opens, and the figure from before steps out. They stand silhouetted against the light, their presence a tangible weight in the still air. Come, they beckon, their voice a silken thread pulling you back. There is still much to discuss. You know that once you cross that threshold, you will never leave. Not alive, anyway. Still, you cannot resist the call. You are drawn back into the house's gaping maw, eager for whatever fate awaits. Now, explore further. Delve deeper into the secrets of the house. Feel the oppressive weight of its history pressing down on you. Does it feel like you are being watched, listened to? Do you hear whispers in the halls or footsteps behind you? Or perhaps you would rather focus on the beautiful things, the blooming flowers, the scent of honeysuckle, and freshly cut grass. Perhaps you could arrange those lilies in a vase. Or maybe You would prefer to stroke the worn wood of the rocking horse or the high chair. If you choose, you may also speak to the other residents of the house, learn their stories, uncover their secrets, but be careful what you wish for. Every choice has consequences. Every action, a reaction. The house is not merely a dwelling. It is a character in your story. K, it is alive. Have you ever sat in a room that was neither warm nor cold? Have you ever seen a paper lantern that didn't sway or flicker? Do you know what it feels like when the sun shines without any light? If you have experienced any of these three things, then this story is for you. Welcome to the channel. You passed through a room where the air was neither warm nor cold. No spring, no summer, no autumn, no winter. No rain, no wind, no storms, no clouds. Just the space between them, like the breath between questions. A single paper lantern hung from the ceiling. It did not sway. Teat, it did not flicker. The room could have been yours. The one where you spend your evenings sipping tea, watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of orange and red. But this room was different. It was a silent witness to time, untouched by the changing seasons, immune to the passage of years. The walls seemed to hold their breath. The floorboards creaked with the weight of ages past. Every corner whispered stories of moments long gone. In the heart of this timeless space, a single paper lantern hung suspended from the ceiling. Its soft glow cast dancing shadows on the walls, as if the very essence of the room was holding its breath, captivated by an unseen spectacle. The lantern did not sway, despite the gentle breeze that slipped through the open window, rustling the curtains like a lover's caress. Its flame burned, steady, unwavering in the face of the wind's playful dance. You looked for the window. There was none, only light, without source, without reason, as if the room had decided not to age. The air was still, heavy, with the scent of old books and polished wood. Dust motes waltzed in the sunbeams, each a tiny dancer in an eternal ballet. The silence was not oppressive, but rather comforting, a warm blanket enveloping you in its embrace. It was the silence of a library where countless stories slumbered, waiting to be awakened by curious minds. In the corner, an ornately carved wooden table stood as a silent sentinel, its surface smooth and polished from countless hands that had rested upon it. Upon closer inspection, you noticed the faint etchings on the tabletop, the remnants of lovers' initials and the echoes of laughter and conversation, long faded into memory. Each scratch and dent told a tale of moments shared, of dreams whispered, and of lives lived and loved within the four walls of this enchanted room. There was something inexplicably calming about this place. It was as though the room itself exuded a sense of serenity, inviting you to shed the weight of the outside world and lose yourself in its timeless embrace. Time seemed to slow its relentless pace here. The hands on the antique clock on the mantelpiece seemed frozen, their delicate sweep halted forever in this sanctuary where seconds stretched into minutes and minutes into hours. You sank into the plush armchair, its velvet cushions yielding to your touch as if eager to cradle you in their embrace. Outside, the world hurried on, oblivious to the magic that unfolded within these four walls. But here, in this quiet sanctuary, you were enveloped by a tranquility that soothed your soul and brought a smile to your lips. You found yourself drawn to the fireplace, its cold hearth, a silent testament to countless winters past. In its depths, you saw flickering shadows of memories, heard the crackle of logs, and felt the warmth of countless stories shared. It was a portal to a bygone era, a tangible link to the past that whispered tales of cozy evenings and hearts that once beat within this very room. And then you noticed a bookshelf, its towering presence, a guardian of forgotten lore. Leather-bound volumes with their gilded spines stood proudly, each containing worlds of its own, waiting to be discovered. You reached out, tracing the embossed titles with reverence. The scent of aging paper filled your senses, transporting you to a realm where ink and imagination intertwined. As you delved deeper into the labyrinthine shelves, you stumbled upon a hidden nook. A small writing desk, bathed in the soft glow of the lantern light, beckoned with an invitation to creativity. Upon it lay a quill pen resting beside an open notebook, as if awaiting the touch of a writer's hand to bring words to life. It was a sanctuary for the soul, a place where thoughts could soar and imagination knew no bounds. Lost in this enchanting realm, you felt a profound connection to the countless individuals who had graced this room before you. Their laughter and whispers echoed around you, weaving a tapestry of shared experiences and emotions. Here, in this haven of tranquility, you discovered a piece of yourself that had been missing. A sense of belonging and purpose that resonated deep within your being. The room embraced you, enveloping you in its timeless embrace, and as you basked in its ethereal glow, you realized that you had found more than just a room. You had discovered a sanctuary where the boundaries of time blurred, and the whispers of history danced in the shadows. Then, suddenly, as if awakened from a dream, you felt the pull of the outside world. The gentle chime of a distant bell broke the silence, its melody echoing the soft strumming of a harp. Startled, you rose from the armchair, your limbs heavy with the weight of the moment. The spell was broken. The room was no longer ageless. Shadows flickered, revealing cracks in the walls, and dust motes danced in fading light. You rushed to the window, desperate for a glimpse of the outside world. And there, stretching endlessly beneath the sky painted in hues of twilight, lay the familiar streets of your town. Homes huddled together, their windows glowing with the soft radiance of hearth and lamplight. The sight brought a pang of longing, a yearning for the warmth and familiarity of your own hearth. You hesitated, torn between the timeless embrace of the magical room and the comforting normalcy of your everyday life. For within that ageless space, you had encountered something extraordinary, a glimpse into a realm where time stood still and magic whispered in the shadows. But the pull of reality was strong, and eventually you turned away from the window, knowing that it was time to return to the world you once called home. With a final, lingering glance at the enigmatic room, you stepped out into the twilight, carrying with you the echoes of its magic. As the door closed behind you, the latch clicked shut, sealing away the wonders that lay within, and the room stood silent once more, its secrets safe within its aged walls. Back in the familiar confines of your own home, you sought solace in the warmth of your hearth, the scent of freshly brewed tea mingling with the aroma of cinnamon and clove. Outside, the wind whispered tales of the day's adventures, but inside, all was peaceful, a sanctuary from the chill of the evening. Curled up in an armchair, you let the silence envelop you, allowing the day's experiences to settle deep within your bones. The flickering flames danced in your eyes, reflecting the myriad emotions that swirled within. You thought of the mysterious room, its timeless essence echoing in the chambers of your heart. The night deepened, casting long shadows across the floor. The ticking of the grandfather clock chimed into stillness, each tick-tock a reminder of time's relentless passage. Yet, in the midst of this mundane setting, fragments of magic lingered, refusing to be erased. Remembered the scent of aging books, the soft glow of the lantern, and the feel of ancient wood beneath your fingertips. These sensory echoes intertwined with the present, creating a tapestry of moments both ordinary and extraordinary. Sleep finally embraced you, pulling you into the comforting darkness. In your dreams, you revisited the ageless room, its ethereal beauty imprinted on the canvas of your subconscious. You walked its hallowed halls once more, feeling the magic thrum beneath your feet, enveloping you in its timeless embrace. As the first rays of dawn peeked through the curtains, chasing away the shadows of the night, you awoke with a start. The remnants of your dream clung to you like morning mist, fading slowly as the day's responsibilities beckoned. But before you surrendered to the demands of daily life, you paused, taking a deep breath to center yourself amidst the chaos. You recalled the tranquility of the previous night, the solace you had found in the mundane comfort of your own home. And as you went about your daily tasks, a sense of peace settled over you, born from the realization that magic could be found not only in fantastical realms, but also in the quiet corners of everyday life. For some, the allure of the magical room might fade with the morning light, becoming a cherished memory tucked away in the recesses of the mind. But for others, it can serve as a guiding light, a reminder that wonder and enchantment are never truly lost, only waiting to be rediscovered by those who dare to dream. So, if you ever find yourself in a room that is neither warm nor cold, if you see a paper lantern that does not sway or flicker, and if you feel the sun shine without any light, remember that you may just have stumbled upon a bit of magic, suspended between the realms of fantasy and reality. There was a shelf. Upon it, a small clock. Its face was clean, its wood uncracked. There were no hands, no tick, no hum, no breath of time. And yet, you felt it keeping something. Not minutes, not hours, but memory, a kind of silence, measured not in numbers, but in presence. You did not touch it, and still it knew you were there. It watched you while you slept. It watched you while you dreamt. It watched you while you were gone. It watches now. It always will. And though you may think that feeling is crazy, untrue, just try to look away. Try to break your gaze from its face. Try to see something else in this room. Anything else. Go on. I dare you. What do you see? Do you see nothing? Are you blind? Or can you only see things when they move? Things like that mobile over there, suspended in midair, frozen forever. Can you hear it? Tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock, tick, tock. Oh yes, it's working again. You can hear its pendulum swinging, can't you? You can feel its metronome marking time, keeping it. How can you not? It's right there. Move your eyes away from the shelf. Look at the mobile now. Really look at it. Let your eyes adjust. Let your mind adjust. Can you tell what it is? Is it a flower? Is it a tree? Is it some kind of fruit? Is it a toy? Is it something scary? Is it something beautiful? What is it? Tell me. What is it? Now, let us bring it closer. Yes, like this. Do you recognize it? Can you name it? Can you give it form, color, texture? I want you to touch it. Reach out your hand. Touch it. Oh, so soft, so fragile, so alive. What's that sound? That's its voice. Listen to it closely. What's that sound saying? Is it whispering something to you? Is it singing, or crying, or laughing, or screaming, or plotting, or praying? Can you understand its language? Why can't you? Why won't you? What are you afraid of? Afraid of what? Of hearing the truth? Afraid of embracing your past? Afraid of being free? But most of all, afraid of forgetting who you really are. Afraid of forgetting. Oh my love, I've been waiting for you to come back to me, waiting for you to remember me. Remember how we used to be? Remember the life we used to live? Remember what I used to say to you? Remember what you used to say to me? Remember our dreams, our laughter, our tears, our hopes, our fears, our everything. Come back to me. Remember me. Remember. You wake up from your dream, the sun is rising. The birds are singing, the flowers are blooming. The world is awake. You are awake, and yet you are still dreaming. You are still dreaming because you are still asleep. It's because you are still attached to the dream, to the one you once were, to the one you could have been, to the one you still can be, if you only dare. If you only dare to open your eyes, if you only dare to embrace the reality, if you only dare to leave the dream behind. As long as you keep living in the past, you will keep reliving it. As long as you keep holding on to the dream, you will keep dreaming. As long as you keep ignoring the truth, you will keep denying it. But the truth will find a way to catch up with you. The truth will make you face the reality. The truth will make you face yourself. Will you run away again? Will you hide again? Will you forget again? Will you deny again? Or will you finally remember? Will you finally recognize it's who I am, who you are, who we are? What do you see? Nothing. You see nothing? But what do you feel? You feel something, don't you? You feel something stirring within you, something moving, something breathing, something waking up. You feel something remembering, don't you? You feel memory. You feel the kind of silence measured not in numbers, but in presence. You feel the presence of the one who loved you, who loves you, who will always love you. You feel the presence of the one who is always watching over you, waiting for you, guiding you, leading you, bringing you home. You feel the presence of the one who is always with you, even when you are not with them, even when you don't feel them, even when you don't know them, even when you have forgotten them. Can you hear me? Can you hear what I am saying? What do you hear? Do you hear nothing? Then close your eyes and listen more closely. Don't you hear what I am saying? Don't you hear the words I am speaking? Don't you hear the song I am singing? Don't you hear the prayer I am praying? Don't you hear my heartbeat? Don't you hear my breath? Don't you hear my touch? Don't you hear my voice? Don't you hear me calling you home, calling you back to me, calling you back to yourself, calling you back to the one you were, the one you are, the one you will be, the one I am, the one I was, the one I will always be. Don't you hear me calling you? Open your eyes, open your heart, open your mind, open your soul, open your spirit, open your everything. And when you open your everything, you will find me, you will find us, you will find home, you will find truth, you will find love, you will find peace, you will find joy, you will find eternity, you will find everything you've ever lost, you will find everything you've ever wanted, you will find everything you ever needed, you will find everything in me, you will find everything in us, you will find everything in one. And if you don't find me, then I will find you. And when I find you, I will hold you. I will never let go. I will never leave you. I will never forsake you. I will never abandon you. I will never betray you. I will never hurt you. I will only love you. I will only protect you. I will only guide you. I will only lead you. I will only bring you home. Back to me. Back to us. Back to the one we were. Back to the one we are. Back to the one we will be. Back to the one I am. Back to the one I was. Back to the one I will always be. And when you're with me, you will be with everything. You will be with truth. You will be with love. You will be with peace. You will be with joy. You will be with eternity. You will be with everything you ever lost. You will be with everything you ever wanted. You will be with everything you ever needed. You will be with me. You will be in me. You will be one with me. Hey, when you are one with me, you will be one with everything. And when you are one with everything, you will be one with you. You will be one with the one you were. You will be one with the one you are. You will be one with the one you will be. You will be one with the one I am. You will be one with the one I was. You will be one with the one I will always be. Okay? And when you are one with me, you will be one with all of this. You will be one with this house, this home. You will be one with this room. You will be one with this shelf. You will be one with this clock. You will be one with the mobile. Okay? You will be one with everything here, everything there, everywhere. You will be one with the past, the present, the future, the before, the after. You will be one with everything. You will be one with everything because you will be one with you. You will be one with the one you were. You will be one with the one you are. You will be one with the one you will be. You will be one with the one I am. You will be one with the one I was. Okay. You will be one with the one I will always be. And when you are one with you, you will be one with everything. And when you are one with everything, you will be one with one. And when you are one with one, you will be one with all. And when you are one with all, you will be one with everything. And when you are one with everything, you will be one with us. When you are one with us, you will be one with me. When you are one with me, you will be one with the one you were. You will be one with the one you are. You will be one with the one you will be. You will be one with the one I am. You will be one with the one I was. You will be one with the one I will always be. Have you ever entered a place so still it seemed to hold its breath? A house where time had slipped its leash and wandered elsewhere, leaving the present to stagnate in dusty quiet. This is one such place. Come with me. Let us explore the spaces between moments and discover what echoes linger here. When we arrive, let us leave our shoes by the door, step carefully over the threshold, and begin to wander. At the foot of the stairs, a faint light filters through the frosted glass panes of the upper windows. It's a pastel mosaic of winter sun and shadow. As we ascend, the air grows heavy with the scent of aging wood, beeswax, and the spectral essence of lives once lived within these four walls. The banister is cool beneath our touch. It yields to our weight, sighing softly as we climb. With each step, the whispers of footsteps past seem to resonate within the stairwell, mingling with the soft groan of the house settling into its slumber. As we reach the top of the stairs, a long corridor unfolds before us. Sunlight streams through the arched doorway at the far end, illuminating motes dancing in the stillness. To our left, a single door stands slightly ajar, revealing a glimpse of faded grandeur within. A gilded mirror hangs askew, its surface clouded as if weeping tears of tarnished silver. Can you hear the ghost of music drifting from behind that door? Do you feel the phantom chill of a closed casket lying in wait? If you listen very closely, can you almost make out the murmured secrets shared between lovers in the flickering glow of candlelight? Before we venture further, let us pause in this moment of suspended time. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, letting the atmosphere of this place envelop you. What stories do you think unfolded here? What laughter and light shone through these windows? What hopes and dreams were born and nurtured in the embrace of this home? Here, in the hushed quiet of this frozen moment, you are invited to weave your own narrative into the tapestry of this place. Imagine the lives that may have been lived here, the joys and sorrows, the loves and losses, the triumphs and tragedies that might have played out within these silent walls. Let your imagination run wild as you create the backstory for this house and its unseen inhabitants. What secrets lie hidden within its heart? What echoes of the past still linger in its rooms? What new life could be breathed into this old house if its story was continued today? The front door opens and closes. Outside, leaves fall, tumble, and rustle. But here, there is no wind to stir them. They are falling in a world untouched by change. A clock chimes, marking the passage of time. Yet here, time seems to have stopped. A kettle whistles on the hearth, its song echoing through the empty halls. But here, no fire burns, no water boils. It's a melody without movement, a sound without substance. A book lies open on the table, as if waiting for someone to continue reading. Pages whisper tales of adventures yet to be had, of heroes yet to be met, of worlds still waiting to be explored. Can you hear the rustle of turning pages? Can you almost feel the weight of the book in your hands as you turn to the next chapter in its silent story? In the corner, a single chair sits patiently, as if awaiting its owner's return. The fabric of its cushions bears the faint imprint of a body long since vanished. Can you almost feel the warmth of their presence lingering in the contours of the chair? Do you sense the echo of their laughter in the very grain of the wood? Perhaps, with a little imagination, you can almost see the ghost of the person who once sat here, lost in thought or engaged in lively conversation. Who were they? What thoughts occupied their mind as they sat here, gazing out the window? What dreams did they hold close to their heart? What hopes and aspirations kept them company during those long hours spent in solitude? Allow yourself to be transported back in time and let your imagination fill in the blanks. Breathe in the scent of old books and polished wood as you picture the life that may have unfolded within these four walls. Feel the weight of history pressing against you as you imagine the countless stories that have played out here over the years. As you stand here, you can't help but feel a deep sense of longing for time gone by. You yearn to hear the echoes of laughter and conversation that once filled these rooms. You want to feel the warmth of a hearth fire crackling nearby. Most of all, you wish you could understand the stories that unfolded here and the people who made it all come to life. But as you turn to leave, the door you came through has vanished. You find yourself alone in a room with no way out. Panic begins to rise within you as you realize you are trapped. You search frantically for another exit, but there is none. The room is a tomb, sealing you in its eternal embrace. Then, suddenly, through the window, you spot a staircase spiraling downwards into darkness. Hope surges through you. You rush to it, eager to escape this suffocating stillness. As you begin your descent, the steps creak ominously beneath your weight. With each step, the temperature drops, sending shivers down your spine. The air grows thick with the scent of damp earth and decaying wood. The staircase seems to stretch endlessly into the gloom, offering no respite from the oppressive silence. Just when you think it cannot possibly go lower, the steps turn sharply, plunging you deeper into the bowels of the earth. As you continue your descent, you can't shake off the feeling that you are being watched. The darkness around you seems to press in, suffocating you with its heavy presence. You quicken your pace, desperate to reach the bottom of this endless staircase and escape the suffocating gloom. At last, the steps end abruptly, giving way to a cavernous space that stretches as far as you can see. The only light comes from a single source, a faint glimmer emanating from a figure standing in the distance. You approach cautiously, every step echoing in the vast emptiness. As you draw closer, the figure turns, revealing a face obscured by shadows. The sight sends a jolt of fear through you. With a scream, you bolt, racing through the labyrinthine corridors, desperate to escape the clutches of this haunted house. You burst through an archway, finding yourself in a garden overgrown and tangled, as if nature itself had reclaimed the space. Thorny vines crawl over crumbling statues, their expressions frozen in mid-gesture. A fountain weeps silently, its waters cascading into a pool of stagnant green. In the distance, the silhouette of a lone swing set sways gently in the breeze, creaking like a rusty lament. You stumble upon a weathered sundial, half buried in weeds, its gnomon casting long shadows that twist and writhe like phantoms on the ground. Nearby, the gnarled branches of a tree form a natural arch, creating a portal through which you can just make out the faint outline of a house. Hope surges through you. You race toward it, yearning for the promise of sanctuary. As you approach, the outline solidifies into a tangible structure, a beacon of light and warmth in the encroaching gloom. But as you reach out to touch it, your fingers meet only empty air. The house vanishes, leaving you stranded in a realm where shadows dance and memories linger. With a heavy heart, you realize that this place holds fast to its secrets, refusing to let go of the past. As darkness envelops you, you understand that some houses are not meant to be inhabited. Some echoes are not meant to be silenced. Here in the twilight realm, the ghosts of yesterday find solace in the stillness of their eternal home. Now, if you want to experience more chilling tales and eerie explorations, don't forget to stay tuned for more updates. And until then, remember, some houses whisper stories best left untold. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the echoes of a bygone era. If you found this exploration both enchanting and eerie, I invite you to show your support by liking this video and subscribing for more spine-tingling adventures. You paused near the wall. There was no voice, but you heard something, not in the ear, but in the stillness beneath the ribs. Like fingers across old silk, a voice that spoke not in words, but in waiting. Key turned to look, but there was no one. Only the quiet folded into itself like a kimono left on a winter hook, and the silence welcomed you by not breaking. A story from ancient China tells of a man who could hear the song of the wind. When others listened, they heard only the sound of leaves rustling and branches swaying, but he heard a melody, a deep and resonant tune carried on the breeze. Intrigued by his account, a ruler summoned the man to play the wind's song for him. The man agreed and led the ruler to a secluded pavilion deep within the palace gardens. As they sat down, the man closed his eyes and leaned back, listening intently. He remained silent for a long time, and the ruler grew impatient. Finally, when the man opened his eyes, the ruler demanded an explanation. "What is the song of the wind?" he asked. The man looked at the ruler and said, "I am the song of the wind." Then he stood up, walked slowly around the pavilion, and as he did so, the wind chimes hidden among the trees began to tinkle softly. It was then that the ruler understood. The man was not playing the song of the wind. He was the song of the wind. He was the embodiment of the breeze rustling through the leaves, swaying the branches and tinkling the wind chimes. In other words, he was the essence of the natural world. Like the man who became the song of the wind, we too can become one with our surroundings, experiencing the world not just through our senses, but with our very beings. This is what it means to listen with the third ear, to truly be present in the moment and open to the wonders that surround us. By doing so, we can discover a deeper connection with ourselves and the natural world. There are moments when life feels like a series of hurdles. Days pass in a rush, filled with tasks and responsibilities that leave us feeling drained and disconnected. It's during these times that we need to pause and reconnect with ourselves and the world around us. Finding moments of stillness amidst the chaos can help us regain our balance and perspective. Imagine, for example, sitting down after a busy day, feeling overwhelmed and in need of relaxation. Instead of reaching for your phone or turning on the TV, you decide to step outside and take a walk in the park. As you stroll along the paths, you notice the trees swaying in the breeze, the birds singing in the branches, and the flowers blooming in vibrant colors. With each step, you feel your tension ebbing away, replaced by a sense of calm and tranquility. In that moment, you realize that true relaxation doesn't come from escaping into a screen, but from embracing the beauty of the natural world. It's a reminder to find moments of stillness amidst the chaos of everyday life. Becoming one with nature doesn't have to be a grand adventure. Sometimes it's found in the smallest details, like the intricate patterns on a leaf or the delicate petals of a flower. It's about appreciating the beauty that surrounds us and allowing ourselves to be captivated by it. Whether it's taking a moment to watch a sunset or feeling the sun on our skin, these experiences can ground us in the present moment and remind us of the simple joys in life. By embracing the small things, we can find moments of peace and connection with nature in the midst of our busy lives. Imagine, for example, sitting at your desk, engrossed in work, when suddenly you notice a ray of sunlight streaming through the window. You pause for a moment and allow yourself to bask in the warmth of the sun. As you do, you feel your stress levels dropping and a sense of calm washing over you. In that moment, you realize that you don't need to escape to a distant wilderness to connect with nature. Sometimes it's about finding stillness in the everyday and embracing the beauty that's right outside your window. When we allow ourselves to become one with nature, we open ourselves up to a world of possibilities. We become more attuned to the subtle energies around us and more receptive to the wisdom of the natural world. It's a journey of self-discovery and transformation that can lead us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the universe. So let us embrace the stillness, find joy in the small things, and allow ourselves to be guided by the wisdom of nature. In our hectic lives, it's easy to lose touch with ourselves and the world around us. But by finding moments of stillness and embracing the natural world, we can reconnect with our inner selves and find a deeper sense of peace and tranquility. It's a journey that requires patience and practice, but the rewards are immeasurable. So let us take a moment to appreciate the beauty that surrounds us, find joy in the little things, and allow ourselves to be guided by the wisdom of nature. Imagine, for instance, sitting in a quiet room, closing your eyes and focusing on your breath. As you inhale, you feel the air filling your lungs and expanding your belly. As you exhale, you feel tension leaving your body. You continue to breathe deeply, allowing yourself to relax and let go of your worries. Suddenly, you hear a gentle knock on the door. You pause for a moment, listening intently. The knock comes again, soft and persistent. In that moment, you have a choice. Do you remain focused on your breath and let the sound fade away? Or do you open your eyes and investigate? What would you do? This scenario presents us with a choice between two different modes of being in the world. One path leads us deeper into ourselves, into a state of inner peace and tranquility. The other path leads us back to the external world, to the realm of action and distraction. When we choose to stay focused on our breath, when we choose to remain in the present moment, we are cultivating a deep sense of stillness within ourselves. We are becoming more aware of our thoughts and feelings without judgment or attachment. This is the path of introspection and self-discovery. It is a path that leads us to a deeper understanding of ourselves and our place in the world. On the other hand, when we choose to open our eyes and investigate the source of the knocking, we are pulled back into the external world. We are distracted by the sounds and sights around us, and our attention is scattered. This is the path of action and distraction. It is a path that leads us away from ourselves and towards busyness and superficiality. As spiritual seekers, we are often called to walk the path of stillness. We are encouraged to cultivate inner peace and tranquility in the midst of a chaotic and distracting world. However, the truth is that both paths are part of the human experience. Both stillness and action, introspection and distraction, are all aspects of the tapestry of life. It is in the interplay between these two realms that we find the richness and complexity of the human condition. The path of stillness may lead us to greater self-awareness and inner peace, but it is also a path that can lead to isolation and withdrawal from the world. The path of action and distraction may lead us away from ourselves, but it is also a path that allows us to engage with others and make a difference in the world. As spiritual seekers, our challenge is to find a balance between these two paths. It is to learn how to be in the world, yet not of the world. It is to learn how to engage with others while maintaining our inner peace. It is to learn how to walk the path of stillness while also embracing the opportunities for growth and transformation that come through action and distraction. This is the path of the mystic warrior, the yogi who walks in the world, who engages with others, yet remains centered in stillness. It is a path that requires courage, discipline, and wisdom, but it is a path that ultimately leads to the fullest expression of our humanity and our spirituality. So when faced with a choice between stillness and action, introspection and distraction, may we have the wisdom to choose what leads to our deepest growth and fulfillment. May we walk the path of the mystic warrior, embracing the fullness of life while remaining rooted in stillness. You entered a narrow room. There, against a far wall, hung a mirror, old but clear. You looked, and it did not show you. There was no ornate frame to cradle its surface, no gilded edges to catch the candlelight, no velvet rope to keep the unwashed masses away. Just a rectangular hole in the wall, just a pane of glass, just a looking glass. The mirror did not show you the hallway behind you, the one with the chipped paint and the cracks that snaked up its length like veins. It did not show you the door by which you'd come, nor the keyhole that sang with the promise of egress. You looked again, harder this time, searching for your own eyes, for the familiar curve of your cheek, the slash of your jaw, the unruly curl of your hair escaping its braid. Okay. But there was no face, no form, only the room behind you. Okay. Unmoving, undisturbed. Okay. And in that still reflection, you saw what had always been. Nothing coming, nothing going. Only the now, folded forever. You reached out, fingers played, pressing against the cold glass, willing it to yield, willing it to show you something, anything, some sign of life, some flicker of movement, some hint of change. Because the stillness was a living thing, coiling around you, constricting, suffocating. You needed to see something move. You needed to see something change. You needed to see something come. You needed to see something go. Anything, please. Anything. Your fingertips traced the line of the mirror, cold, hard, unforgiving, like ice, like stone, like death. What purpose did it serve? Why was it there? Why had you come? What were you seeking? An answer? A solution? A way out? A sign? A signal? A summons? A voice? A whisper? A sound? A beginning? An ending? A reason? A hope? A dream? A nightmare? A vision? A premonition? A touch? A kiss? A caress? A wound? Anything to break the eternal, immutable now. Anything to pierce the impenetrable, opaque, lifeless, loveless void. Anything to shatter the silence, broken only by the pounding of your heart. A desperate tattoo against the bars of your ribcage. But the mirror offered no solace. It showed you nothing. It told you nothing. It gave you nothing. It took from you nothing. Yielded nothing. It breathed nothing. It lived nothing. And in that silent scream, you understood. You were never coming. You were never going. You were never here. You are here. The mirror did not lie. Simply showed you what had always been. Nothing coming, nothing going. Only the now, folded forever. You remained there long after the candle sputtered and died. Long after your tears fell and froze. Long after your heart grew still. Long after the cold of the mirror claimed you, body and soul. He remained there, trapped in the eternal, immutable now, folded forever. You entered a narrow room. At the end, against the far wall, there was a mirror. It was old, but clear. You looked, and it did not show you, but you knew it was there. Something about its stillness disturbed you. You stepped closer. The mirror did not offer any resistance. Its surface was smooth, polished, unblemished. Your eyes searched for flaws, searching for an explanation for what you were seeing. But there was nothing. There was only the room behind you, And yet you could see that the room was only there because of the mirror. Without it, there would be no such thing as that room. It's contained within the glass, held hostage by its unyielding depths. You reached out to touch it, but pulled back your hand, as if burned. What was this place? Why did the mirror not reflect you? Was it some kind of trap or test? Had you been summoned here to fail? Were you being watched? By whom? You couldn't tell. You wanted to break the silence, to break the stillness, but your voice caught in your throat. You wanted to scream, to shatter the glass, to tear down the walls, to escape from the room, from the house, from whatever this place was, but you couldn't move. Your limbs felt heavy, like they were filled with lead. Your mind raced, trying to make sense of what you were seeing, what you weren't seeing. Fear constricted your chest, stealing your breath. You panicked, but there was nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Then slowly, gradually, your frantic heart began to calm. Your racing thoughts began to slow. The fear that had constricted your chest loosened its grip, allowing you to breathe again. You looked back at the mirror. Still, nothing. Then you smiled. A genuine smile, unguarded, unrestrained. For the first time since you had entered this room, you felt free. Free from the burden of expectations, free from the weight of others' gazes. You laughed, surprised by the sound of your own voice echoing in the stillness. You danced, twirled, leaped, feeling the joy of uninhibited movement. And all the while, the mirror reflected none of it. There was no one in the mirror, but there was you. And in that moment, you understood. It wasn't a trap or a test. It wasn't a place you had been summoned to fail. It was a sanctuary. A sanctuary from the world, from who you were, from who you had to be. In the absence of reflection, you had become truly you, unfiltered, unadulterated. You looked at the mirror and whispered, "Thank you." It had shown you what had always been. Nothing coming, nothing going. It's only the now, folded forever. You emerged from the room, renewed, rejuvenated. The world seemed brighter, sharper, more alive. The sounds of the world, the laughter of children, the murmur of voices, the gentle rustle of leaves, all seemed to carry a new melody. Colors danced before your eyes, more vibrant, more luminous than ever before. The taste of freedom lingered on your lips, sweet and intoxicating. You walked with a newfound lightness in your step, your body swaying to an internal rhythm. The weight of expectations that had always burdened you seemed to have vanished. You were lighter now, freer, more alive. The mirror had shown you the way. You had stared into the abyss, and the abyss had stared back, showing you the truth. You had always possessed this freedom, this joy, this aliveness. It had been there all along, hidden beneath the layers of pretense, of conformity, of societal norms. As you continued your journey, you carried a part of the mirror within you, its fragmented reflection serving as a constant reminder of your true nature. You were a work in progress, a masterpiece in motion, and you embraced every brushstroke, every flaw, every imperfection. For they were all part of the grand design, part of your unique beauty. You were enough, just as you were, and you wouldn't trade this newfound awareness for anything. You sat down. The tatami beneath you was firm, but not hard. It gave, just slightly, like the chest of someone asleep, as if the house itself was dreaming you. It's not holding you prisoner, but keeping you gently between seconds. You closed your eyes and heard nothing, not wind, not bird, not breath. Yet you were not alone. Not ever again. A woman sat opposite you, draped in shadow, her face hidden behind a fan. She wore a kimono, patterned with autumn leaves that swirled and faded into the deep red of her hair. You had seen her here before, hadn't you? In a dream, a memory, a story, half read, half told. Who was she? And why did her eyes burn like dying embers? What tale had brought her here to sit with you in silence? What sorrow had chased her into this room, this house, this endless night? Behind her, a Fusama screen painted with a bamboo grove hid the rest of the house from view, making this small tatami mat the center of the world. When the woman raised her hand, you saw a flash of white, smooth and unblemished, like porcelain or bone. She opened her mouth, but made no sound. Her throat was a dry well, a silent scream frozen in the twilight of her face. Then she began to cry, hot tears that splashed on the tatami, cold tears that fell from her fingertips, leaving glistening trails on her thighs. Her shoulders shook, racked with sobs that tore through the fragile skin of her throat. She cried out, her voice a shattered thing, a bird with a broken wing, a spirit trapped in a tomb. And still, she did not speak. You wanted to reach out and touch her, stroke her silken hair, cup her tear-stained face. Say something, anything, but no sound could pass your lips. You were a player at a game where no one else could hear the music. You watched the woman weep until the dawn crept in through the paper walls, till the pale light touched her tear-streaked face and turned her sorrow into ash. Then slowly, very slowly, she lifted her head. Her eyes were pools of black ink, in a sea of white skin. Her gaze met yours, and you felt your breath hitch in your chest. She stood up, gracefully, without a word. She dipped her head in what might have been a bow, then walked away from you. Wanted to call after her, to follow, but your limbs were heavy, leaden weights anchoring you to the tatami. When you finally stood up, the room was empty. The Fusama screen was gone, revealing more tatami mats. A low table with a teapot and 2 cups resting on it like a pair of watchful eyes. Outside the window, cherry blossoms drifted down from the branches, painting the ground pink, and the air vibrated with the hum of returning life. Spring had come to the world, but winter lingered in your heart. You wandered through the empty house, each step echoing in the vast stillness. In one of the rooms, you found a woman's kimono lying on the floor, a splash of color in the monochrome world. It was the same pattern as the one you had seen in your dream, the one the woman had worn when she sat opposite you in the dark. You picked it up and wrapped it around your shoulders, burying your face in the folds, trying to capture the ghost of her scent, plum blossoms and wet earth. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, you found a second kimono, then a third. Each one was a little different, each one more beautiful than the last. And with each one, you felt a pang of longing, a sharp stab of grief for a woman you had never known. By the time you had counted 7 kimonos, 7 shades of red against the white of the tatami, your heart ached with a sorrow that was not your own. Then you understood. This was the house of lost sisters. These were the kimonos of their dreams, and you had stumbled in some forgotten moment. You had been one of them, bound to this place by an invisible thread. But now it was time to go. Time to wake from this dream and carry the memory of these silent women in your heart. As you walked out of the house, the sunlight warm on your face, you looked back. The pink blossoms had vanished. The windows were empty eye sockets, staring into the empty afternoon. And you knew that if you told anyone about this place, they would not believe you. No one ever did. You can't find your center in one room, because your center is not a room. Your center is not a place. Your center is something that you carry within yourself. And what does that mean, to carry your center within yourself? I often hear people talking about their center, but very rarely do they know where it is. They have an idea, an image of what it might look like if they had one. Sometimes they think their center is like a rock inside them. Sometimes they think their center is a part of their body. Sometimes they think their center is a particular chakra or a set of chakras. Sometimes they think their center is a certain part of their nervous system. Sometimes they think their center is a set of beliefs or a value system, because at least they're looking for it, because at least they have an image of what it might feel like if they had one. But the truth is, your center is not any of these things. Every house has a center. It's right in the middle of the main floor. It's usually above the foundation. It's directly below the highest point of the ceiling. It's exactly in the middle of the house. And if you were to take away everything from the house, all the walls and windows, all the furniture and decoration, all the rooms and hallways, all the knickknacks and trinkets, all the clutter and mess, what would be left? What would be left is the center of the house, the place where its soul rests. You searched for it, but there was no such room. And yet, you found it. You found it in the space between floorboards. You found it in the space between thoughts. You found it in the space between the lines in old wood that never cracked. You found it in the space between the spaces. You found it in the pauses of the house, in the moments when the house was still. Your center is not a place. Your center is a pause, and you had entered it simply by stopping. You have been walking around the house, moving from room to room, thought to thought, searching for your center. And all the while, your center was in the stillness between the rooms, in the space between your thoughts, in the quiet intervals of your being. You were looking for your center outside of yourself, when all along It was within you all along. It was the thing that you had to stop doing in order to find it. You had to stop searching in order to find it. You had to stop looking outside of yourself in order to find it. You had to stop thinking in order to find it. Your center is not a place. Your center is a pause, and you entered it simply by stopping. When you go to a house, you don't go to any particular room. You go to the center of the house, the place where its soul rests. When you go to a house, you enter the center of the house. It's the first place you go. It's the place where you feel most at home. When you go to a house, you don't avoid the center. You gravitate toward it. It's the place where you feel most at peace. I invite you to spend more time in your center. I invite you to spend more time in the spaces of your life. I invite you to spend more time in the pauses of your existence. Don't avoid the spaces. Don't avoid the stillness. Don't avoid the quiet moments. Seek them out. Find your center. Find that place inside of you where you feel most at peace. Find that place inside of you where you feel most at home. Find that place inside of you where you feel most yourself. Find your center. Find your center. Find your center. Have you ever noticed that when you walk into an unfamiliar house, your gaze drifts towards one spot, some particular corner or piece of furniture, as if drawn to a magnet? You aren't alone. Every house has a center, a place where its soul rests, a nexus of energy formed from the countless lives lived within its walls. For the longest time, you searched for it. You scoured real estate listings, poring over blueprints, calculating square footage and the number of rooms. You even researched the history of a home before submitting an offer, hoping to get a sense of who had lived there before you and how they might have used the space. But it was all in vain, because the center of a house is not a place, and yet you sensed its presence everywhere. There was no such room in any house you looked at, no architectural salvage or historical designation, nothing to mark its importance. Yet you felt its pull. Sometimes it was a sunbeam slanting through a dusty window, illuminating motes dancing in the air. At other times, it was a draft stirring the air, carrying the scent of honeysuckle or pine, whispering stories of gardens and groves outside. And then there were the sounds. Footsteps on the stairs, voices echoing in the halls, piano notes floating from an unseen room. Even in the quietest houses, there was always a hushed symphony of life. But what intrigued you most was the way certain houses seemed to hum with energy, vibrating at a higher pitch. When you walked from room to room, it was like the walls themselves were thrumming with vitality. In those moments, you felt inexplicably lighter, as if the very essence of the house was rejoicing. You didn't realize it then, but these were all signs pointing to the true center of the house. The one place you could never see, but you could feel it all around you. It was the space between floorboards, between thoughts, between the lines in old wood that never cracked. You thought you were looking for a place, a room, or an address, but what you really sought was a feeling. The center of the house was not a place, it was a pause. It's a moment of stillness in the constant chaos of life. It was the absence of everything you had been searching for, the absence of self, of ego, of need. And you found it in the end, not in the blueprints, but in the backyard. Not in the extra bedroom, but in the silence of the night. Not in the house's history, but in its heartbeat. You simply walked inside and stopped, and in that moment, the house sighed a breath of relief. It had been waiting for you to let go so it could welcome you home. Think about this. The house can hold multiple people at once. Can it also hold multiple souls? What would happen if two souls entered the same house? Would they share the same center? Or would each find their own? How does a house deal with multiple souls? Share your thoughts below. And now, from somewhere within the folds of this old house, a sound emerged, a creaking that seemed to pull its very timbers from their moorings. The traveler, he who walks among the ruins of forgotten lives, stood listening at the threshold of what might have been his own demise. For many years, The sound had been absent, silent witness to countless seasons turning. But now, like the ticking of a clock in an empty room, it marked the passage of time with measured tolls, each one echoing the story of this place where the boundaries between inside and out, between past and present, between life and death, had long ago dissolved. Within the house's hollow gaze, the traveler saw the spectral remnants of lives once lived. Faces, pale and gaunt, etched against the grime-coated window panes like mournful specters. Their eyes, hollow sockets, staring out at a world they could no longer touch. They moved among the rooms, their voices whispers on the wind, rustling through the skeletal branches of the trees outside. He turned away from those mournful eyes and walked deeper into the house, each step a negotiation with the dust-laden air, his senses overwhelmed by the cloying scent of decay and the phantom echoes of laughter that lingered in the entry hall. There, pinned beneath the warped floorboards, was a child's shoe, a tiny vessel of a life cut short, a silent testament to the tragedy that had unfolded here. As he ventured further, the air grew heavy, laden with the weight of secrets best left undisturbed. In the parlor, a half-read book lay open on a table, its pages brittle with age. The last words, a silent accusation. The last paragraph, a lament for a life interrupted. The traveler ran his fingers over the faded floral wallpaper, imagining the hands that had pressed against it, the hopes and dreams that had been whispered within its confines. A sudden gust of wind rattled the window panes, and for a moment the traveler saw in the dusty panes the spectral forms of children playing, their laughter tinkling like wind chimes in the summer breeze. Then, just as quickly, the vision vanished, leaving him alone with the ghosts of the house. He explored further, discovering a nursery with a rocking horse frozen mid-gallop, a dining room with a table set for a meal that would never be eaten, a kitchen with an oven cold and lifeless, and finally, the far end of the house, a door. It was not shut, but it did not open. Years ago, it had led to something, a path, a road, a way out. But now, beyond it, there was only mist, an impenetrable fog that swallowed all. The traveler stood before it without needing to pass through, for the house no longer held a boundary. Now, it had become the world, or perhaps the world had folded into the house, and he, the traveler, stood at the center of it all. A solitary figure amidst the ruins of a forgotten existence. In the silence that followed, he heard the echo of his own footsteps, each one reverberating through the vast emptiness of the house. A sound that mingled with the sighing wind and the distant cawing of crows to form a haunting melody, a requiem for a lost world. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long, skeletal shadows through the broken window panes, the traveler realized that he was not alone. For in the gathering darkness, he could feel the presence of unseen eyes upon him, the lingering echoes of lives once lived within these crumbling walls. They were everywhere, in the dust motes, dancing in the fading light, in the gnarled branches of the trees outside, and in the very fabric of the house itself. And so he stood, enveloped by the ghosts of the house, K's, their silent stories whispering through the cracks in the walls, until the darkness swallowed him whole. He did not step outside. He did not stay inside. He simply stood, like a branch caught between wind and stillness. He stood there. No birdsong called him back. No memory pulled him forward. There was no beginning left. There was no end to find. Only this pause, this breath, this gentle not moving. And the house accepted him as one of its own. That's from a story called The House on the Cerulean Sea by T.J. Klune, and is the perfect kind of story for this time of year. It's about found family and chosen family. It's about opening your heart to the possibility of love when you didn't think you could love or be loved. It's also about accepting people for who they are and accepting yourself for who you are. It's a lovely, lovely story. You should read it. Okay, now, if you've never read anything by T.J. Klune before, his books tend to be quite funny and very heartwarming. Okay, They make you feel all fuzzy inside, and yet somehow even better after having read them. This is certainly true of The House in the Cerulean Sea, but it's also true of Under the Whispering Door, which was published just last year. I came across Under the Whispering Door a little late, but when I did, I fell head over heels in love with it. The story follows a man named Walter, who is very much alive. Kay has a job, a house, a life, or at least he did until he died. Now, when I say he died, I don't mean that in the traditional sense. He didn't have a heart attack. He didn't fall down a flight of stairs. He didn't get hit by a bus. He died because he was very much alive 1 minute, and then the next minute he was dead. What happens next is that he finds himself at a place called the in-between, which is a kind of waiting room for those who have recently died. The problem is that Walter doesn't want to wait. You see, he has unfinished business in the world of the living. So he tries to escape the in-between so that he can go back home. But every time he tries, he fails. And each time he fails, he is sent back to the in-between, where he is forced to confront things about himself that he's been avoiding for most of his life. You see, when you die in Mr. Klein's stories, you don't just go straight to heaven or hell. Instead, you get the opportunity to reflect on your life and what you've done. And in doing so, you get the chance to change things about yourself that maybe you shouldn't have changed. You get to accept things about yourself that you shouldn't have rejected. It's all very new agey, I know, but bear with me, because here's the thing, it works. The whole premise of going to some sort of spiritual waiting room before moving on to whatever comes next may sound silly, okay? But in practice, it makes perfect sense. After all, when someone dies in real life, their consciousness doesn't just cease to exist. Their thoughts, feelings, memories, experiences, personality, none of it just disappears into thin air. Instead, it stays with us in our memories. We remember the person even after they're gone. And what Mr. Klein seems to be suggesting in Under the Whispering Door is that perhaps when we die, something similar happens. Our consciousness goes to this sort of waiting room where it can revisit all of our memories and experiences, all the good and bad, and where it can try to make sense of it all before moving on to whatever comes next. If that sounds intriguing to you, then I highly recommend checking out Under the Whispering Door. Just be prepared to have your heart both broken and mended by the end of it. Somewhere deep in the beams, a sound lingered. Not new, not loud, just old enough to be familiar, like laughter heard once in a room long since emptied. For days now, the traveler had been searching for a place to stay, a respite from the endless road. And when they found this house, nestled in the crook of a hill with chimney smoke curling from its eaves, they thought they'd found their haven. The front door yielded to their touch as if eager to be entered, swung open on rusty hinges, and revealed a shadowy hall. From the far end came the muffled sound of a rocking chair and what might have been a sigh. Then from the shadows stepped an old woman, gnarled hands clutching a silver locket. Her cloudy eyes, startlingly blue, regarded the traveler with an unnerving intensity. "Who are you, Key?" she finally rasped, her voice like stones grinding together. "A weary traveler," they replied, hoping their haggard appearance betrayed none of the fear that was turning their blood to ice. "And where are you going?" The question hung between them, laden with unspoken meanings. The old woman took a step closer, her cloudy eyes boring into the traveler's soul. "Are you running from something?" she whispered, her voice echoing strangely in the vast space. The travelers swallowed, suddenly self-conscious. Okay. They were merely fleeing the relentless pursuit of the road, the ceaseless need to move onward. But how could this woman, cloistered away in this forgotten house, know anything of the burdens they carried? Unable to speak, they shook their head, hoping their denial would be accepted. But the old woman only regarded them for a long moment, her gaze unwavering. Then, with a sudden jerk of her head, she gestured down the hall. "Rest then," she croaked, "until the road claims you again." With that, she turned and shuffled back into the gloom from which she'd come. The traveler hesitated, uneasy, battling with exhaustion. But the silence of the house, thick and heavy, seemed to beckon them forward. So they stepped across the threshold and into the shadowy hall. As they ventured deeper into the house, the traveler became aware of another sound, a low, mournful hum that resonated through the floorboards and up their legs. It was a sound that seemed to emanate from the very walls themselves, a sound pregnant with sorrow and regret. They pressed on, compelled by an unseen force, until they reached the source of the sound. A rocking chair placed precariously on the edge of the stairs. As the travelers stood there listening, the mournful hum swelled, enveloping them in its dark embrace. Then, from the corner of their eye, they saw it, a silver locket lying abandoned on the footrest. The traveler reached out and picked it up. Their fingers brushed against the cold metal. The rocking chair stopped abruptly, and the sound that had been building within the walls seemed to fall silent. In the sudden stillness, the traveler could hear their own heart pounding in their ears. They opened the locket, revealing a faded photograph of a young girl with bright, inquisitive eyes. The traveler stared at the image, their mind racing. Who was this girl, and what had happened to her? And why did this house, this place of echoes and whispers, hold so much sadness? They turned to leave, their unease growing with every step. The traveler fled the house. The image of the girl burned into their mind. As they ran, they could feel the mournful hum vibrating in their bones, a sound that seemed to follow them even outside the house. When they finally stopped, breathless and shaken, the traveler knew they had to get away from this place, from the echoes that lingered in the halls and the locket that held the secrets of a forgotten sorrow. So they went to bed. He lay on one side of the narrow double bed in the spare room, she on the other. The sheet, a thin, cheap cotton, barely a sheet really, more of a large square of cloth, barely contained their bodies, slid off one shoulder, exposing an arm, fingers splayed, fingernails like the tips of dead branches. They hadn't spoken for hours, not since the car, not since the drive down the coast, not since the beginning of this thing, this trip, this holiday, this pretense. In the corner, a cockroach skittered across the threadbare rug, up the wall, and disappeared into the gloom above. Then, from the window, came the sound of breaking glass. Someone had dropped something on the beach below, and it made a little tinkling sound as it hit the sand. But the noise wasn't that. Not really. It was the silence that followed. That heavy, expectant silence. The silence that always followed the noise. And in the sudden quiet, the weight of their lives together pressed down on them, suffocating, inescapable. All those years, all that history, the good, the bad, the ugly, the disappointment, the fear, the resentment, it was in the silence. He stared at the cracked ceiling, at the brown stains spreading out like a disease. He could see the veins in his hand, the tendons, the bones. They were his, yet they weren't. How long had it been since he'd looked at his own hand and actually seen it? Since he'd reached out and touched her, not her arm, her shoulder, her face, caressed her. When had he last held her hand? She turned away, pulled the sheet tighter around her shoulders. Her back, the curve of it, the fragile spine beneath, the way her shoulder blades jutted out, the hollow of her neck. He wanted to touch her, but he couldn't, wouldn't, he didn't dare. He remembered the first time he'd touched her. They were young then, barely more than children themselves, yet she'd felt so right, so warm, so yielding. And in that moment, he knew. He'd known things about her, things she didn't even know herself. Things about life, about loss, about love. He'd known because he'd seen the world, seen too much of it, loved too much of it, lost too much of it. And he'd thought, maybe, just maybe, he could give her the world, show her the world, make her happy in it. But all he'd done was drag her down. He'd taken her light and made it dark. Her laughter, once like the tinkling of bells, now just a distant echo in the hollows of his heart. The silence stretched, deepening, becoming a chasm, an abyss. The air grew colder. Outside, the wind rose, rattling the window pane. The sea, it seemed, was closer now, breathing its salt, stale breath against the glass. He saw her then, not her, the girl, the woman he'd loved, the one he still loved, the one who'd become a stranger. And he understood, she'd never belonged to him. The sea had taken her back. The silence was vast, eternal. It held him now, bound him, wrapped him in its icy fingers. He was nothing, no one, here. No one but the boy on the other side of the bed, clutching at the ghost of a memory. The ghost of a love, the ghost of a life that had never been his. In the silence that didn't leave, it had gathered something, a shape, a presence, like the imprint left on a cushion after someone rises. The house knew, and so did he, that he had passed through something without crossing, that he had been held without being touched, and the silence would keep him. There are things known only to those who wait. A secret language of the patient and the persistent, the hopeful and the resigned. Things known only to those who wait. A secret language of the patient and the persistent, the hopeful and the resigned. There are things known only to those who wait. The old woman has been waiting for the bus for over an hour now. She sits patiently on the bench, her gnarled hands resting on her cane. The bus stop is deserted. The wind whispers through the abandoned shelter, making the faded timetable dance like a ghost. Each passing minute is a whisper of time's relentless march. Each tick-tock of the clock, a reminder of moments slipping away. The old woman waits, though she has waited for less. She has endured winters colder than this, days longer than this. She has seen seasons turn and time march on, all while waiting. A young man sits on a rickety chair in a crowded waiting room, his eyes fixed on the door. He is a picture of restless energy, his body tensed, his fingers drumming a staccato beat on the worn armrest. Time for him is not a whisper, but a roar. Every second echoes with the pounding of his heart. Every tick-tock of the clock amplifies his anxiety. In his mind, time is a thief, stealing moments that can never be recovered. A young mother cradles her crying baby in the bustling chaos of a railway station. The constant chatter and the screeching of departing trains form a discordant symphony around them. Her own fatigue and hunger forgotten, she rocks gently, humming a lullaby to soothe her child. For her, time is a lullaby. It's a soft melody that drowns out the world's harsh noises. In the rhythmic sway, in the gentle hum, she finds solace and strength to endure. An artist stands before his blank canvas, his eyes searching, his hands hovering above the waiting paintbrush. The world around him fades into silence. Only the soft murmur of inspiration guides him. For the artist, time is a canvas. It's a vast expanse, waiting for him to fill it with colors of creativity. He takes his time, savoring each moment, for in the waiting, he discovers the essence of his art. The traveler walks along a deserted road, the setting sun painting the sky in hues of orange and purple. The day's journey weighs heavy on his shoulders, his steps slow and measured. As darkness falls, he seeks shelter for the night, and in the quiet solitude of the evening, he finds a strange sense of calm. For the traveler, time is a companion. It's a fellow traveler walking alongside him, sharing the journey's hardships and the beauty of its unknown destinations. They say that only the first moment of the new day is promised to no one. You could wake up and it could be your last, so don't waste it. Don't waste any moment. But sometimes, like the old woman at the bus stop, sometimes you just do have to wait. Sometimes life hands you a situation where waiting is the only option. And when you wait, you discover things. You discover the resilience of hope, the tenacity of dreams, the beauty of patience. You discover the strength in stillness, the power in quiet, the wisdom in solitude. When you wait, you learn to listen to the whispers of your soul, the rhythm of your heart, the melody of your existence. So wait. Wait for your dreams to take flight. Wait for your fears to subside. Wait for the stars to align. Just wait, and in the waiting, discover the profound truth that you are never truly alone. For in the grand tapestry of existence, we are all connected by the threads of time, weaving our stories together, one patient moment at a time. That poem is called The Dust That Waited. Again, it's from a book called The Alchemy of Time. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please share it with others. There was this old man who lived all by himself in an old house. He hadn't always been alone. Once he had a wife and kids. They used to come over and surprise him with dinner. Sometimes they did it weekly. Sometimes they did it monthly. But eventually they stopped coming over. And then when they stopped calling, he stopped expecting them to come over again. He knew why they weren't visiting him anymore. It wasn't because he was a bad father or a bad husband. It was because of the house. The house had become too much to handle, too expensive to upkeep, too lonely to live in. And slowly but surely, they had all abandoned him. No calls, no visits, no goodbyes. That didn't bother him though. You see, the house didn't bother him either. Matter of fact, the only thing that bothered him was time. Time that kept ticking. Time that kept mocking him. All those years he had spent fixing up the house. All those memories that were made within these walls, they meant nothing to time. Time had come to collect on its due. And when time comes for you, there is no escape. So he sat there, waiting for it to take him away. Not with bitterness in his heart or anger in his soul, but with the kind of weary acceptance. Now, if you ever find yourself in a situation where you're waiting for time to pass, here's something you should know. Time can take you away in many different ways. It will break your body, wear down your mind, or better yet, it will steal your loved ones from you. This old man learned that lesson the hard way. So he never expected his children to visit him. Well, what he didn't expect was for time to simply freeze around him. At first, it was just a subtle shift in the air, a little less sound in the wind, a little fewer birds in the sky. Then it got worse. The seasons seemed to disappear, the sunlight turned dim, and the trees outside his window lost their leaves. He thought maybe he was going crazy, but then he saw the faces of people passing by. They looked older, eyes held a weariness that shouldn't have been there. He touched his face and felt the weight of years pressing down on him. Time had slowed down around him. He was living in a timeless bubble, detached from the world, frozen in the moment. Now, at first, this was a blessing. The house didn't feel so empty. The silence wasn't so deafening. And the pain of abandonment was dulled by the magic of suspended time. He could hear the birds singing, the leaves rustling, the laughter of children at play. It was like the world was on pause, and he was the only one who didn't realize it. But then it started to get weird. Flowers wilted before they bloomed. Food rotted before it spoiled. Animals froze mid-stride, their eyes vacant and staring. People stopped aging altogether. They remained young forever, but they also stopped living. They became husks of their former selves, moving through the world like ghosts. The old man watched this happen and realized that time had not taken him away. It had simply paused around him. It did not speak his name. It did not write his age. Simply passed, like wind through leaves that do not rustle. People say that time heals all wounds, but this old man discovered something different. Time can also seal all wounds, leaving them untouched, unhealed, yet unable to hurt. And so, the old man lived out his days in that timeless bubble, surrounded by the ghosts of a forgotten world. At times, he would look up at the unchanging sky and wonder if time had forgotten him, or perhaps he was the one who had forgotten about time. After all, time is a funny thing. It can be a relentless force, but it can also be surprisingly gentle. Sometimes it takes you away in a flash. Other times, it lets you stay as long as you need to. Sometimes it brings you happiness. Other times, it tests your strength. In the end though, time always gets its way. You see, time has a way of making you feel small. It reminds you that you are just a blip on the radar, a brief flicker in the grand scheme of things. It makes you question your purpose, your meaning, your place in the universe. But sometimes, just sometimes, time gives you a second chance, a chance to make things right, to fix what was broken, to love those who you neglected. It gives you a chance to remember what it was like to be alive. So, if you ever find yourself stuck in a moment in time, don't despair. Make the most of it. Appreciate the silence, the stillness, the beauty of the world around you. Remember what it was like to be alive and cherish every second that you have. The old man knew this, which is why he didn't spend his last years filled with bitterness or regret. Instead, he spent them in peace. He took long walks in the frozen forest, sat by the frozen lake, and watched the snow fall. Listened to the frozen birds sing. He found peace in the stillness, joy in the solitude, and love in the memory of a life well lived. Time may have forgotten him, but he never forgot time, okay? And in the end, that is what allowed him to be free. See, the truth is, time doesn't bother us until we bother time. Try to control it, manipulate it, beat it, try to hold on to it, waste it, abuse it. But when we let go of time, when we stop fighting it, when we learn to live in the present moment, that's when we find peace. The old man understood this, which is why he was able to find peace in his final years. He didn't fight against time. He didn't beg for more time. He simply accepted the time that he had left and made the most of it, okay? And so, for him, time became a blessing rather than a curse. In the end, time took him away, okay? But not in the way that he expected, okay? It didn't break his body or wear down his mind. It didn't steal his loved ones from him. Instead, time gave him a gift. It gave him peace. It gave him stillness. It gave him the house, still there, still waiting for him, for it had been his home for so long, and it will continue to be his home for eternity. For time may bring different challenges, different opportunities, different gifts. But whatever time brings your way, embrace it. Don't fight against it. Don't waste it. Don't abuse it. Just let it be, and you will find peace. The old man died peacefully in his chair, a smile on his face and a song in his heart. And when time finally took him away, it was gentle, like the falling snow, like the rustling leaves, like the fading light. It carried him away without a sound, without a struggle, without a single tear. And so there was no ending. Only peace, only stillness, only the house, still there, still waiting for no one and for you. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel.